Farisha, a nutritionist that worked for Ministry of Health Malaysia. Last but not least, we have our special guest here, a consumer of food product and also a famous young businesswoman that owns Fashion Valley, Tan Sri Farah. Okay, to start off the discussion today, let me ask Prof. Hidayah that knows from A to Z about food ingredients. What is actually the real definition of food ingredients itself?
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ni, and hi and good day everyone. I'm Hidayah. Okay, food ingredient is any substance that added to food to achieve the desired effect. And the term food ingredient includes food additives, which are substances that are added to food for specific technical or functional purposes during food processing, storage or packaging. And ladies and gentlemen, there are two types of food additives, which are direct and indirect. Direct food additive is added to food for specific function in that food. For example, stabilizers are used to help prevent separation of nutrients in qualified milk product, while indirect food additives are not intentionally added to the food, but may present in trace amount as a result of food processing, packaging, shipping or storage. And for your information, generally there are many other types of food additives, not to mention there are artificial and natural ones. For example, sweeteners, flavor enhancer, preservative and many other more. And all of them play important part respectively in contributing to the taste, texture and appearance at the same time ensuring that for consumers to enjoy their food.
Thank you, Prof. Hidayah, for the good explanation just now. Based on what Prof. Hidayah said, food ingredients can be categorized into two, which are natural and artificial. I bet all of us as consumers of food product must know about this a little bit, right? So I want to ask Tan Sri Farah as a consumer, do you have any idea regarding natural or artificial ingredients?
Thank you, Ms. IZNI, and good morning everyone. In order to be considered as natural, the food product must be free from preservative as well as artificial colors, flavors and sweeteners. As an example, natural additive is anything that is made from natural sources such as plant and animal. Meanwhile, the artificial additive is not made from plant and animal. Instead, it is made by synthesizing different chemical compounds in laboratory.
That's quite a nice response, Tan Sri. Actually, I am so curious, regardless of its type, whether natural or artificial ingredients, I wonder why food additives is so important to be added in food production. Any of the guests here can give me explanation?
Okay, thank you, Ms. IZNI. Okay, some food additives have been in use for centuries for preservation. For example, preserving food by pickling with vinegar, salting in meats and dry fish. Do you ever eat ikan masin?
Yes.
That is one of a good example. And many different food additives have been developed over time to meet the needs of food production. Making food on a large scale is very different from making food in a small scale at home. Therefore, additive is needed to ensure that the processed food remains safe and in a good condition throughout its journey from factories or industrial kitchen to during transportation to warehouses and shops, and finally to consumers.
I see, Dr. Farisha. Thank you for answering my question. Now I understand why is it so important and crucial to add additives in food production. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, nowadays, as we know, Malaysia is seeking to accomplish the Sustainable Development Goals or SDG that is ratified by United Nations. One of the most significant goal is the third goal, which is good health and well-being. This is because nowadays people have become more health conscious. So this has led us to our main topic for today, which natural ingredients are always better than the artificial ingredients. Okay, for that, let's first hear the consumer's opinion on this. Shall we, Tan Sri?
Thank you, Mrs. Ni. It may seem healthier to choose food products that contain natural ingredients and avoid those with artificial ingredients. Most additives are derived artificially, but that does not make them inherently less safe than natural additives. The toxicity of any additive is determined by its effect in the body, not whether it is synthesized in a lab or produced by plant or animal. The dose is also very important. Even something as common as sea salt can cause illness or even death if consumed in excessive amount. Overall, I think that natural ingredients don't appear to be any healthier than artificial ingredients because both natural and artificial are responsible for making food more enticing.
Wow, your opinion is quite good and informative. I guess you must love to read a lot, right, Tan Sri? Okay, we have already heard our consumers' opinion. Now, let's hear the opinion from the industrial perspective. Dr. Shahirah, as a food technologist yourself and always involved in the commercial food production, which one does the industry prefer, either natural or artificial ingredients?
Thank you, Ms. IZNI, for the question. In manufacturing food product, industry more prefer artificial ingredient rather than natural ingredient. This is because our main aim is to reduce as low as possible the production cost of food. So artificial ingredient will be the most suitable choice for us. For example, food coloring. Synthetic color tend to be more economical since we only require small quantity of it to produce good color intensity compared by using natural color. High concentration of natural color is needed to obtain the same color intensity as the synthetic one, and this indirectly will increase the production cost since cost of natural color is 2 until 10 times higher than artificial color. After that, other characteristic of artificial additive is its stability toward heat, light, pH, or other factor. Meanwhile, natural additive is quite sensitive to heat, light, and can be used in limited range of pH. For instance, if pH more than 7, turmeric color will change into red and rapidly fade. Same goes to annatto, it's still in acidic condition. So if we are trying to use this natural color, can you imagine during storage the condition is not stable and the color end up become fade, and this can make the consumer think that food manufacturer is going to cheat their money and in order to gain more profit. Other than that, since more and more people are concerned about their health nowadays, aspartame, which is one of the artificial sweetener, will be used to replace sucrose, as it can provide 200 times more sweetness compared to sucrose, and this can help in reducing sugar content in our food product and lead to more healthier lifestyle. So that's all.
Thank you, Dr. Shahirah. As what you said, actually, basically the industry prefer the artificial ingredients rather than the natural one due to some solid reasons. This means that the in-food product that we always purchase in the market may contain those kind of ingredients. Basically, as what I have read before, artificial ingredients can give harmful effect to our health. Thus, may I ask Dr. Farisha, as a nutritionist, what do you think about food additives or ingredients in the health aspects? Which one do you prefer, either artificial or natural one?
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ni. Okay, for my opinion, food additives have its own certain benefits. For example, acids that may be added to food to prevent the growth of microorganisms that can cause spoilage may also prevent the growth of microorganisms that can cause foodborne illness. However, food additives may not be nutritious as you think they are, because the bright color of food and drinks doesn't mean that it is healthy. And additives like monosodium glutamate (MSG), it enhances the flavor of food, and therefore manufacturers replace the main ingredients with MSG so you still can taste the flavor, right? And the other example is like chicken soup or orange juice that you buy may contain only small amount of chicken or orange. So I would prefer to say that it is best to eat freshly made food as much as possible, even though FDA allows some consumption of certain food additives. You should have some effort to avoid from eating processed food. So, for example, biscuits, bread, breakfast cereals, margarine, pasta, and milk are examples of food that contain additive. I know you cannot prevent the consumption of certain food additives, but you should be mindful of what you take. You should be mindful of what you eat.
Thank you, Dr. Farisha. But then how about you, Tan Sri?
Nowadays, there is this recent trend of consumer demands for food with pro-health properties. In my opinion, itself as a consumer, natural ingredients are always better than artificial ingredients. Firstly, consumer buy food with natural ingredients because they feel that these options are more healthier and safer, as the natural ingredients is derived from the natural sources. Therefore, they are safe to be consumed compared to the synthetic ingredients which may contain unknown substances which are not labeled. Alternative sugar as an example. Consumer would prefer to choose stevia, which is derived from the leaf of stevia plant, rather than aspartame, which is made synthetically in their food products. Secondly, the price. Secondly, consumer reflect the price with the quality of the food product. We assume that the higher the price, the higher the quality of the food ingredient added as the raw materials, which lead to the higher food product quality. Solely for this reason, consumers prefer to purchase natural ingredients rather than artificial ingredients in their food product.
Yes, Miss Farah. I, as a consumer myself, 100% agree of what you said. I would always choose for the better and healthier food, even though it is higher in price, because health is wealth, right? Okay, so Dr. Shahirah, I think this must be a tough challenge for you and your company to produce a high quality food product that suits your customers' need. Can you give any comment about this?
Yeah. To be honest, recently the high demand. To be honest, recently the high demand from consumers for more natural food product can be considered as a tough challenge for us. But some food companies already take this opportunity and change their product to be more natural product. This because they know that if there is a request from consumer themselves, it means that the consumer willing to pay more in order to obtain more healthier food. But in order to produce more natural product, many aspects need to be considered. Either the new natural product can satisfy the consumer, or if the consumer can accept the change of the food that may occur, such as fading color of food. As we know, basically color play an important role to make food more appealing. Since We often eat with our eyes. We prefer the color of our food to match the taste. And also for the food company, they need to monitor their product because, as I mentioned previously, natural additive like color is less stable for the certain condition. And if this occurs, it may change. The product may change physically or chemically and cause a loss to the company. And for example, if turmeric is added to margarine production, instead of using artificial color like tazrazine to produce yellow color, it may cause off flavor to the final product due to high concentration of turmeric is added. So I guess no one here want to eat margarine with turmeric taste, right?
If the margarine tasted like turmeric, I would rather die than eat those margarine. Okay, my beloved audience. Earlier before, I have asked you guys to write down your opinion or comment on Twitter using hashtag artificial versus natural. Okay, so I have choose a lucky tweet. So the lucky tweet is from Fatimah Chomel. The tweet is, as a nutritionist, Dr. Farisha, can you convince us as consumers that both natural or artificial ingredients are really safe for consumption? Okay, so Dr. Farisha, can you give your opinion?
Okay, thank you, Fatimah Chomel. Okay, let me make it clear here. Natural ingredients are derived from natural sources. For example, soybeans, corns that can provide lecithin to maintain product consistency. Another example is beets that can produce beet powders that can be used as food colorings. And some ingredients cannot be found in nature, so that we have to artificially derive or synthetically derive, but they can produce more greater purity and more consistency product from the synthetically and artificially derived one. Okay, so here I just want to tell you, Fatimah Chomel, that consumer need to understand that all the food ingredients are subject to the same strict of food safety and food regulations. So both of them are really safe to consume.
Thank you, Dr. Farisha, for answering Fatimah Chomel's question. Okay, if that's so, may I ask Prof. Hidayah, is there any law or enforcement regarding the usage of food additives? Can you give us a further explanation?
Okay, Mrs. Nia. Of course, there are regulations regarding food additive, and every country has their own laws and regulations. Well, in Malaysia, anything related to food must follow Food Act 1983 and Food Regulations 1985, as these laws are the backbone of the food legislation governing various aspects of food safety and quality control. And back to your question just now, Mrs. Nia. Based on Regulation 19 Part 5, food additive is defined as a substance that intentionally introduced into or on the food in small quantities in order to affect the food's keeping quality, texture, consistency, or packaging, or the appearance such as color and taste. And according to this law also, additive that added into the food must be a permitted additive which been approved by this regulation by the Codex Alimentarius or with prior written approval of the director. And the additive added must not exceed the maximum proportion of that food, of that ingredient and that product. And also it is very crucial for manufacturers to mention in the labeling that they have put the additive and the direction for its use for the consumer awareness in that product they have bought. And as I mentioned about the indirect additives just now, food manufacturers must prove to the FDA that the ingredients coming in contact with the food are safe before it's been permitted for use in such a manner. That's all from me.
Thank you, Prof. Hidayah. Prof. Hidayah's explanation just now marks the end of our discussion for today. Okay, to wrap up the topic for today, we can make a conclusion that natural ingredients are not always better than artificial ingredients, and vice versa, because both have their own advantages and disadvantages. The good and bad is actually depends on how much it is added in the food products. But importantly, it relies on us as consumers to make a wise decision for a healthier and better lifestyle. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you, everyone.